Hello everyone. So we'll continue today the counter app development applications. So the web page we are currently building that will have an application called counter app. So as of now, we have slowly developing our application. So we have now few options in the apps. So you can increment the counter, then you can delete the counter. So as of now, we have done this part. So today we're gonna enhance our counter app features, and let's see how it looks like. So also today you're gonna learn some few more features of React, JavaScript, that how um, how application can be in a good state if we have a single source of truth. What does it mean by single source of truth? So as of now, you can see that we have a counters class and we have a state, and we have another class called counter. We also have a state. So some state changes done from counters, some state changes done from counters. How? Because as you see, handle delete we have included in counters class. So the delete features is driven from this class, and the increment features is done from this class. So we'll try to create a single source of truth. So from one single source, everything can be driven. So let's build that. So now let's go to this particular file, counters.jsx. So what are you gonna do? We're gonna create a button called reset. So basically the reset button, what we'll do, once you click on reset, any value you have changed, it will be automatically turns to 0. So inside the render, let's create a button inside the div. So the name of the button is reset. Okay, let's save it. As you see, the reset button is being added. So now let's change the color of the button. We're going to make it green color. So let's use the attribute class name. The green color, as we know, is primary. So btn primary. Button is small, and give some space. There we go. So now, so what's the button is gonna do? The button basically is gonna reset the state. So any value you change is gonna reset that particular value to 0. So in order to do that, we need to raise the event. We need to create an event. So we can create an event. On click. Basically, how is gonna raise the event by clicking on the button. So the event name is on click, and we're gonna pass a method that will do the job for us. So let's create a method. So we can name this method is called handle reset. It's also gonna be an arrow function. So basically, so let's create a constructor. So let's create a let's create a variable. So we can name it reset counters. So this reset counters, so what's this variable is gonna turn into? Let's see. So we're gonna call our state. So this dot state dot counters, going to use a map to display all the value. So we have a parameter called C. We have an arrow function inside the map. So what is we are trying to do? So C dot value we're gonna turn into 0. So we initialize the C dot value is equal to 0 whenever you click on the reset button, then return C. C stands for counter. Save it. So it breaks, but it's okay, don't worry. I just save it. We're gonna fix it. So now then we need to use we need to pass the value inside the counters array. So we cannot directly pass the value inside the counters array, so we need to use the set state. So this dot set state. So we have a array called counters. We are overwriting that array. The value returns from the function called reset counters. So this is basically using the map. It's creating another array. So basically reset counters has set of arrays. So you're replacing the counters array with the reset counters array. So reset counters. That's it. Okay. So now onClick is complaining because we didn't pass anything inside the curly bracket. So inside that we're gonna call the instant of that method. This dot handle reset. Should be good now, as you see. So we have a reset button. So the purpose of reset button, if you change the value, if you click on it, it should reset the value to 0, but it's not working right now. So, and we'll discover why it's not working now. Let's take a look here. So if we go back to our code, the reset things happening in from the increment feature. This feature is handling from the counter class. So the counter class, we have a handle increment method. So what you're trying to do, as you see here, this value changes is performing through this state. So we have a state object inside the counter class, and whenever you trying to change the value of the counter, so it's driven from the state right inside the counter class. But what we are trying to do here, so we are trying to perform the reset on the state value inside the counters. So we have multiple sources of truth at present. So we have a state in counters and we have a state in counter. So we need to fix that. So let's go back to counter class and we can remove this state because the value we are driving everything into the counter application from the counters class, because we have a counters array over there, and this array has ID and value, and all the value we are trying to drive in this application from this particular state. So now we can do let's remove the local state from the counter class. Let's do that. So now we need to update the local state references in this particular class. So wherever you have used the word called this.state, let's replace that with the props. So make sure we use props because, so let's leave this handle increment as it is. I want to update all other places, or you can simply remove that as well because we're going to move that function to counters class as well. So in this place, let's update the props wherever we have used state. So let's check it out. And we have used state here. So we can use props dot counter. Okay, because the props dot counter, how do I know counter is attribute? As I have shown you using the developer tools. So if you inspect any element, go to components, if you click on here, as you see, the props can access to the counter attributes. The counter attribute has ID and value. This attribute we have declared inside the counters. Let's go back. Okay, so props.counter.value, props.counter, yes, that has been changed. That's good. Then we remove the handle increment method. Let's put that handle increment method right over here. So this handle increment method, now what we have is not going to work, because but is saying that change the state of the value, but we have a array here, so that value is a one of the attribute of this array. So we're going to rewrite that function, but leave as it is so that we can compare what we have earlier and what we're gonna write. So before I jump to the new method, so I'm going to name the method name is handle increment. It's going to be the same name. It's an arrow function. So I will have a parameter called counter. So what we're gonna do first, we're gonna clone the existing array we have inside the state called counters. So I'm going to create a new counters array. So new counters. So you're going to learn another syntax, how to clone a array in JavaScript. So this dot state dot counters. That's it. So this dot 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 spread it symbol, actually reference means you are trying to clone that particular information. So I'm cloning the current array we have, because as you know, using the set state, basically you need to update some value. You cannot really update the value directly inside here. You need to update virtually. You need to create a copy of that, or you need to create a replica of that particular information and make changes on that. So here I'm creating a array cloning from the existing array. What next? So now I'm gonna get a index number from that particular array. So index numbers, we have created new counters dot, there is a call index of method. So you just pass the counter. So the parameter we have is counter. So let's talk about a little bit about index of. What is index of meaning? So let me go to my sandbox tutorial.js. So let's say, let me create an array. So array of names. So let's say I have Adam, then I have Collins, then I have Jimmy. This is an array we have. So index of, basically you're searching a value inside an array. If it matches, it will return to you that particular index number. So as of now, we have three index 0, 1, 2. So let's use that particular feature. So let's say we index, so let's say index number. So names dot index of the value we are searching. So let's say I'm searching Adam. So as per the logic, the index should be 0. Let's see. So let's print it out. Console.log index number. Open the terminal. Okay, let's go to our sandbox, learn JS, then node tutorial.js. Okay, 0. Here we go. As you see, so we're searching Adam. The index number is 0. So if we do Jimmy, the index number should be 0, 1, 2. 2. Perfect. So if it doesn't find anything, the value you're looking for is going to return -1. So let's say we are searching Molly. You see, -1. So this is called index of. So index of, basically you're searching a value inside an array. If it matches, it returns to you that particular index number. So in our contest.jsx, so this is what we're trying to do. So basically we make a clone of our existing array we have inside the state objects. Then we get the index of that particular value. So handle incremental. Think of in a logical way. So we want to, so if we click on that particular button, so we have 4 values inside the counters array. So let's say you click on this particular level of values, increment. So it will get the information that which counter did you click on. So that index will return over here. Okay. So now new counters index. So you are inside here, you are cloning the counter, the value of the counter. So let me add some comments for you so that is clearer. So first thing, what we are trying to do, we are cloning the counters array. Then what we are trying to do, using the index of search an item from an array. And what we're trying to do here, we're cloning the value of the counter. So inside that particular index, we are cloning the value of the counter. Now, new counters index, the value we clone, we're going to increase 1 up to 1. So whatever value we clone, we just made an increment +1. Then we have to use this set state, otherwise it's not going to replace. So set state. So what we have, the counters array will be overwritten with the new array. Perfect. So we accomplish our work. So let's close this terminal. Okay, so now we can safely remove this handle increment that we had before in counter class. So now we have handle increment, handle reset, handle delete. So now what we can do, we can create another attribute right over here called on increment. So we have on delete, so let's do on, we can create one increment. So in on increment, inside on increment, since it has a property, so let's do instead of a class this dot handle increment, save it. So now we go back to counter class. Inside counter class on render we have this on click, so we're gonna use the props and call that attribute right from counters. So, and since it has a parameter counter, so we need to use a arrow function to pass the parameter. Okay, so where is increment? Okay, right inside here. So inside the curly braces, so created an arrow function, and these dot props dot is called on, the event call on increment. So, and we have a parameter. The parameter is a counter, these dot props dot counter. That's pretty much. So now let's use the developer tools, make sure the attribute we have added is visible inside and accessible through the props. So if you can inspect component, as you see here, so we have now 3 attributes beside key. So key is not visible, so counter, on delete, on increment. So we are accessing to the on increment through the props. So let's test it out. Something broke, so let's fix this. So the problem we have here, so I made a mistake here. So it should be new counter index dot value. So we are actually increasing the value one by one. It should work now. So increment, if you click on reset, it's set back again 0. So our reset is working, increment is working. So now what do we have? A single source of truth. So now take a look the counter class what we have here. So the two method we have is completely different. This is, we are only changing the color basically for a particular span. To display the text, we basically changing the color and returning 0 text based on the input. And the other is all the event related, and this is not an event related method. All the other event related method we stored in this particular counters class. So everything can be automatically handled from here. So any changes you need to perform, just go to one particular class. Any value you need to update, just go to this particular class state. So everything driven from one particular component, which is counters. So this is called single source of truth, that the value generating is from one particular class. So event is stored in one particular class. So anything you need to change, just go from one place and easy to maintain. This is called single source of truth. So just to recap, so what we have done here, what we have done today, so we have learned a new approach in JavaScript, which is what is the use of index of. So in the index of, basically it returns the, if you search a value in an array, it returns the particular index position of that particular value. That's what we've done. Then we remove the state from the counter class and move the handle increment method inside the counters class. So all the value, all the attribute we can access through the props. So using the props, we can access all the attribute that is inside the render method. So inside the render method, we're at this moment we have the on delete, on increment, and counter attribute that can be accessible through props. How do we know? We using by the uses of React developer tools. Then over here, once you move everything, make sure you update all the places that you are using local state. That's what we have done. Then we restructured the method handle increment so that in a way it increase the value and update that value into the particular state. Then we added another method called handle reset. Basically, it will reset every value that you have increment. Then we added a button called reset button, and we added one additional attribute here on increment. Okay, that's pretty much. So in the next class, basically we're gonna move up to the another advanced level. So let's do practice more for this tutorial. So you make sure you understand the concept of single source of truth. Try to understand, play around the new features we have learned of JavaScript. So I have added a particular comment so that it makes sense to you, and you try to understand what logic I'm trying to implement over here. All right, so stay tuned. So I'm gonna the next video I'm gonna release soon, so that you can see a full-fledged application. So the next video, basically you're gonna see the final output of that application, how the entire application looks like, and we're gonna learn a few more advanced stuff. All right, have a nice one. Please do subscribe my channel, give a thumbs up, and if you like the video, please share with your other friends. Thanks a lot. Bye.